It was expected regarding the modus operandi to suicide attackers at this spot, which was targeted before. But as you said, actually, Baghdad, the heart of Baghdad, wasn't hit since January 2018, so almost 3 years day to day. But if you look at the wider Baghdad, if we look at suburbs of Baghdad, there were, we see here on the map, there were 3 suicide attacks in Sadr City, Al Baladiyat, Place Tehran, which was the day before yesterday, and Al Ma'alif. So the wider Baghdad. So it tells us actually that the Islamic State isn't in capacity of conducting more complex attacks as it was capable by the end of 2009 and 2013, where we saw them sending booby-trapped cars in a coordinated way on many spots inside Baghdad. Knowing that this modus operandi is very conflictual even among jihadi factions, because we know that the spiritual father of the Islamic State, Zarqawi, when he was at the head of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, this was a subject of discord between him and Al-Qaeda Central. Even targeting the Shia was a subject of discord, because he considers Zarqawi and the Islamic State today that they were outside of Islam, where Al-Qaeda thinks that they are lost and should be brought back. And even today, one of the most prominent leaders of the Islamic State in Iraq, and then of the Nusra Front, and then of Al-Qaeda, who's in Idlib today, Abu Maria al-Qahtani, said that this attack is a criminal attack against poor Sunni and Shia people. So we see that even up to today, we have a line which is of the Islamic State attacking Shia civil population all over the world, actually, even Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Al-Qaeda, which refuses to go in this modus operandi, attacking civilians and markets this way.
Okay, so yeah, as you said, some splits then within the jihadist movement in the area. But does this attack suggest to you perhaps that ISIS is becoming a serious menace again in Iraq and perhaps in the wider region in Syria as well?
Well, you have to imagine actually that you cannot improvise two kamikazes in the heart of Baghdad. This is the work of a pre-existing cell inside of Baghdad. We can talk about theories. Maybe they were holding back those cells, awaiting maybe much harsher confrontation between the Americans and Shia militias in Baghdad. We can also imagine that, as it's often the case, that Islamic State jumps on an occasion when it has the occasion. So it's a matter of opportunity. Some people talk because of the new Biden administration, others because of the upcoming elections in Iraq. But I think it's more of a matter of an opportunity and timing for an opportunity, knowing one time that pre-existing cells are surely inside of Baghdad in order to be able to conduct such attacks. But if we look at the wider map of attack in Syria, and we can see maybe the map of the all the attacks in 2020 of Aaron Zalin from the Washington Institute, you can see the amount of attacks, of terror attacks and of military attacks, paramilitary attacks from southern Syria up to the Saudi border and up to Kurdistan in Iraq, and then all the way northern Syria and the south of the Euphrates. So we see that they are still present, especially in Sunni rural areas, where they are rebuilding in the same way that they rebuilt prior to 2012, 2013, knowing that they don't have the same strength. If we talk about Iraq today, and not the same human power and human skills in fabrication of explosive, conducting military operations, but what they have, and they didn't have before, is the open space with Syria. So what they succeeded, despite the war and despite the loss of their caliphate in 2017, 2018, is to create the same map, the same logistics, and the same map of logistics that they had in Iraq since 2003, into Syria. And we see that the most complex attacks are happening in southern of the Euphrates against the Syrian army and some Russian special forces, but the highest number is northern of the Euphrates, where Kurdish factions are holding the land with Western special forces, of course.